1983, the American Medical Association quietly made a decision that would save thousands, maybe millions of lives. They changed the rules for CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Before that, it was strictly set, 2 breaths, 15 chest compressions. That's how it was. No exceptions. Welcome to the Sebcast, where we turn our beloved stories on their heads, look at what history might have overlooked, discover anew, and grow together. This week we continue in Matthew 12, 1-8, and I enjoyed Eugene Peterson's translation, The Message, so much last week that we'll continue with his translation. One Sabbath, Jesus was strolling with his disciples through a field of ripe grain. Hungry, the disciples were picking and eating grain. Some Pharisees reported them to Jesus. "Your disciples are breaking the Sabbath rules." Jesus said, "Really? Didn't you ever read what David and his companions did when they were hungry, how they entered the sanctuary and ate fresh bread off the altar, bread that no one but priests was allowed to eat? And didn't you ever read in God's law that priests carrying out their temple duties break Sabbath rules all the time, and it's not held against them?" There is far more at stake here than religion. If you had any idea what this scripture meant, "I prefer a flexible heart to an inflexible ritual," you wouldn't be nitpicking like this. The Son of Man is no lackey to the Sabbath. He's in charge. But here's the thing, it didn't always work. Doctors and paramedics on the front lines began to notice that people are different. Every emergency is unique. Sometimes you need more compressions, sometimes less air. The data just confirmed what they had known all along. Saving a life isn't about following a rule. It's about knowing when to adapt. So they changed the ritual. Not because it was bad, but because it stopped serving its purpose. Now, jump back 2,000 years. Another kind of moment where life is at stake. A grain field, a bunch of hungry men, and a very, very old rule. It's the Sabbath. Jesus and his disciples are on their way through the fields. They are hungry. They pick a few heads of grain, rub them in their hands and eat. This is quite normal, but the Pharisees see it as a violation of the holy law. Their reasoning? The law says no work on the Sabbath. Picking grain is work, therefore violation. But Jesus doesn't argue over their logic. He attacks the lens through which they look. He quotes the prophet Hosea, "I prefer mercy over sacrifice." And in Eugene Peterson's version, it sounds even sharper. "I prefer a flexible heart over an inflexible ritual." This isn't just theology, it's an explosion at the heart of the religious system. Believe me when I tell you, after hours and hours of meetings with the brothers and sisters, I understand very clearly today how rituals, which were once alive and full of meaning, can harden. What began as devotion can end as dogma. Traditions meant to bring people closer to God sometimes become weapons that push them away. I want to point out that Jesus doesn't break the law, he sets it right. He fulfills it, not by adding more rules, but by restoring its heart, love, freedom, and grace. Jesus says the Sabbath is not a prison, it's a gift. And if that gift starts to hurt instead of heal, then you know something is wrong. Inflexible ritual says this is how we've always done it. A flexible heart asks, what brings life today? You can save a life if you're willing to revise the ritual. And maybe, just maybe, that's what the ritual was meant to do from the beginning. Until tomorrow, take care.